in recent times I've had quite a few people ask me about the Rally and the DRZ. Sort of, I guess they're more or less wanting to know which one to get. Yeah, and having owned both those bikes and currently owning the DRZ, yeah, probably in a position I can sort of talk about them, the pros and cons of each. So a bit of a background. I've had two rallies in the last 5 years, the last 7 years actually, 6-7 years. So I ended up with a 250 Rally back in the day when they first come out. I thought that's a pretty cool machine. I think I put about 11,000 Ks on that one before upsizing to a BMW, and not much bigger. It was only a 310, but so I had the 200 Rally for a while, nearly a year I think. Took it all over the place, a lot of camping, quite a few decent sort of trips up to sort of 800-900 kilometres, no massive trips on it, but no, it was good. Did find it was just lacking power, like 250cc and quite a heavy bike. I think they're about 160 kilo or 157 or something like that, so they were quite a heavy bike for their 23 horsepower, something like that. Don't quote me exactly on that, but not much horsepower. But great machine, super reliable, just a little bit down in the power department. And a few years later they released the 300 Rally. I thought, interesting. Like the 250 I enjoyed and liked, except for probably the lack of power in the thing. So when they released the 300, I thought, maybe they've improved the power issue a bit. Why not give one of them a go? So I ended up getting a 300, and I took that all over the place as well. I think I put 17,000 kilometres on that in the first year. Just kept it for a little bit over a year, but yeah, put some Ks on that one, took it absolutely everywhere, camping up in the high country and bloody, just all over the place, just exploring and local stuff, as well as, trips up to about 1,200 kilometres, sort of 2-3 night trips. And it was a great machine as well. And it definitely had a bit more power than the 250. I think it was 27 horsepower compared to 23. I don't know how to explain the gearing, but it's definitely more user-friendly gearing. The first 3 gears are quite low, which is great in the bush. In more trickier stuff, first and second are very low. But once you got up to third, fourth, and fifth and sixth, sixth was a noticeable overdrive, but fifth gear was a pretty handy around town gear. But yeah, great machine, like 17,000 Ks, and it never missed a beat. They are sort of a bike you sit in as opposed to sit on, and I say that because the DRZ is more a bike you sit on, more of a dirt bike feel to it. But the Rally's definitely a more comfortable touring bike. You're going to cover a lot more country. The Rally's definitely a more comfortable bike to travel with. And I'm not talking the seat, I'm talking ergonomics. The seat on them's pretty average, but so is the seat on the DRZ. But it's just the design of the Rally. You sit more in the bike, you're sort of in and behind the tank, which is obviously a more comfortable position. Windscreen, as stock, it's effective. And the overdrive itself is, it's great. You don't really want it to be in 6th gear unless you're over 90 kilometres an hour. Over 90 kilometres an hour, put her into 6th, and good. You can sit on those highway speeds, 100, 110. But it will be revving a bit, but it noticeably is an overdrive, and I guess more importantly, it does have a 6th gear. I guess to sum up the Rally to someone thinking about them, they're just a fairly light, go anywhere bike, comfortable position-wise, not so much the seat. Ergonomics for travelling are terrific, super reliable. Like Honda is, all these Japanese bikes, reliability is their sort of, I guess, one of their stamps. And terrific fuel economy with the Rally. I think I was getting 32 kilometres per litre, which is pretty impressive. It's quite a bit better than the DRZ. Definitely a nice light adventure bike. A little bit underpowered again, but not horrendously underpowered. Just, you know, just needs to be running a 400, 450cc engine, or a 500 if they can keep it in a single. But it's certainly a great step into the world of adventure bike riding. If you don't want to spend a fortune and you want reliability, at the end of the day, they're a great bike to get into this world of exploring on motorbikes without spending a fortune and knowing you've got something that's quality and reliable. I guess the question is, why have I got the DRZ and not the Rally? Part of it is me in liking change. I tend to see what's available and see if it works for me. And I'd never owned a DRZ, so I sold the Rally, got a good price on it while the kilometres weren't too high. I think I was 17,000 on it. And then spotted a DRZ and thought, oh, a few guys I know that ride them all over the place, and we'll do some distances on them, like thousands of kilometres. So I figured, well, must be able to do the distance. So anyway, we got one, and I've now put, I think, 7,000 kilometres on this one. And I have to say, in a comparison to the Rally, in many ways they're the same, but in other ways there's noticeable differences. I guess the first thing you'll notice between the DRZ and the Rally is these are noticeable power difference. They're effectively around 100cc more, which, a quarter of the power more, and that's pretty well what it's got. I think they're running at 40 something horsepower compared to 27. Figures vary from 43 to 39 to 48, so I'm not going to quote the exact figures of these, but it is noticeably more powerful. It is noticeably more agricultural, I guess you'd call it. It's a little bit old school, the DRZ, like with its old suspension, carburetor, but it's at least water cooled, so it's getting towards becoming a modern bike. But yeah, noticeably more powerful. Similar height like to the Rally, but the Rally suspension is quite soft. These bikes stock, the DRZ, the suspension is quite soft as well, but not as soft as the Rally. The Rally is, they're basically just designed for light people. I guess the Asian market and people that weigh 70 kilos instead of 80, 90 or 100, So they're a very soft suspension in a Rally, but not dangerously soft or horribly soft. It's just spongy. Like, it depends how you ride. If you're jumping it, it's going to be a problem. But if you're just riding around, exploring the bush like I did on it, it's fine. But the DRZ suspension stock is soft as well. It's not as soft, but definitely soft. But they're both quite high bikes. So if you're a shorter guy, you'll be struggling to touch the ground at rest. But the Rally does drop a bit when you sit on it, like a fair bit, whereas the DRZ, it doesn't sag as much in the suspension when you sit on it. So noticeable difference in power, noticeable difference in suspension as a stock bike. Also, the riding position on the DRZ is, as I touched on earlier, it's very dirt bike orientated. You sit high on the seat. Whilst I've got a big tank on it, you're still not hiding behind the tank like you did on the Rally. They're just, they're a bike you sit on. You can, as soon as you jump on it, you just, all right, this is a dirt bike. Depending on, that might be what you want, but depending on your outlook, my outlook is adventure and exploring, and a little bit of comfort would be good. So bigger tanks, cut out a little bit of the windscreen. We'll get rid of some of the wind off your chest, and I've got bar risers, so instead of that position, we've got the arms up a bit higher, so it's more comfortable, and definitely more comfortable standing up. But I guess that's the point with both of the bikes, is make them what you want them to be. You're never going to make the Rally a super powerful adventure bike. It's going to be, yeah, moderate to low powered bike no matter what you do. So you buy the Rally for what it is. You can do modifications around the framework of the bike to get it more comfortable for you, like a seat or a bigger windscreen or whatever, like just rise the bars or different handlebars. You can do stuff that makes it more suitable for you, but you can't entirely change the bike, and it's not going to turn into a 450 rally bike. So just keep that in mind with it. What it is what it is. Adjust around to suit your style of riding and ideas. Same with the DRZ. Whilst it's definitely more powerful initially, it's never going to be, you know, some screaming 450 rally bike as well. You can work around the framework of the bike like I've done. Bigger tank, windscreen, change the tyres, the same on the rally, change the tyres to what suits your style of riding. Definitely change the seat if you don't like the stock seat. But you can't, obviously put luggage racks on them, get it all set up for your style of riding, but you can't turn this into what it isn't. But it is a good all-rounder in many ways, the same as the Rally. The Rally is probably a better bike. I'll say it is a better bike for travelling longer distances on, despite the smaller engine. Just that 6 gears just means you can sit on a better speed, travel the highways, cover a heap more country, and just a little less strain on the engine. But the DRZ, changed the gearing on the sprockets. I've got taller gearing on this one. I've got a 43 rear sprocket and a 15 front, and that's brung my 100 km/h highway. That's my cruising speed in the highway. 95 to 100 is pretty well where I sit. It's brung that down to a comfortable, non-buzzing level. So, yeah, it's not going to sit on 110 and enjoy it. It will do it. It'll do 150, but it's going to feel like it's going to blow up. But yeah, sitting on 100 with changing the gear ratio is, well, like I've done, is fine, absolutely fine. The stock gear ratio on them is very much the farm bike. Very, very low. You know, you'll go through the gears in seconds. But yeah, wind them out a bit, change the sprockets, and then you've got a bike that's capable of covering distance. New, these bikes are pretty well the same price, or both around 10, a bit over, 10 and a half. They both run similar specs in terms of weight. By that I mean it's noticeable when you go from one to another, but the weight difference from this is around 140 stock. The Rally's like 157. They don't feel too much different because of the weight distribution. The Rally's weight, it's not up high, so it doesn't feel heavy. It feels the same as this, even though it's 16, 17 kilos heavier. So I wouldn't consider the weight differences between these bikes a deciding factor, because I picked both of them up, dropped them plenty of times, and they both feel heavy because they're motorbikes and I'm old. But at the end of the day, that weight, if it's down low, it's not a real issue to pick a bike up. It's when weight's up high that they're a problem. But there is a weight difference. You won't feel it riding, and you won't noticeably feel it picking it up. So I've sort of been talking about the current DRZ. This fella here is about to be replaced next year, or probably later this year. So the model that's coming out, obviously can't speak about it, haven't ridden the bike or even looked at it, but what I can go on by some of the specs of what's written about it, and apparently it's 10 kilos heavier than this, so they're around 150, which is getting up to the range of the Rally. They have a different lighting setup. I'm not saying this old school lighting's particularly attractive, but the new lighting looks a bit, to me, not very attractive on the new DRZ, but it may well be a great light. It could well be a nice, bright, even light, as opposed to the stock light in these older bikes is pretty terrible. They've finally changed the suspension. Instead of having the old school forks, they're bringing out upside down forks, which I don't know whether they're adjustable. Maybe the rear spring is. The suspension looks to be more in line with current dirt bikes. So They've at least put some effort into that. The other thing they've done, not that I have any issues with carburetors. This bike's carbureted, my DR650 was carburetor, but they've gone to fuel injection. This is all to do with emissions laws and standards, but it now has fuel injection, which, yeah, fantastic. You know, flooding your fuel injected bike. But probably the biggest thing they missed out on, and they had the opportunity to, I guess, was 6 speeds. They've stuck with the 5-speed gearbox. They may well have done something with the gearing. It may not be quite as close ratioed in the box. I don't know. Yeah, so 6-speed gearbox is what you want. Yeah, the DRZ, Suzuki just haven't brung it out again, which surprised me. I thought they would. I just thought they would. Anyway, I can't speak too much about the bike. You may hop on it, and that spread in the gearbox is really nice, but yeah, I don't know. Everyone else has got 6-speed boxes, so it's, you know, proven reliable engine, tough as nails bikes. So they're still going to release a product that's going to appeal to many, but they would have appealed to more with an extra gear. Alright guys, I'm pretty well out of here. Just thought I'd touch on some of the differences between the two bikes. Look, they're both great bikes. Just the DRZ is a more simple, tougher, no nonsense, I guess you could say a farm type bike by comparison, whereas the Rally's a bit more refined with fuel injection, 6 gears, and more comfortable ergonomics for travelling. So I guess you got to weigh up between the two. If you've seen my videos and see what I do, pretty well everything I've done on a Rally I'll do on this, and vice versa, and they're both absolutely fine for my style of adventuring and exploring, camping, travelling. For me, until something better comes out, the DRZ's a pretty awesome machine, but so was the Rally. So yeah, they're both good machines. You just got to be honest about what you want to do with it. Alright guys, I'm pretty well out of here. Weather's starting to clear up. Load up some camping gear and get away for a couple of days. I'll catch you on the next one. Cheers.